What's going on, you guys? Code Monkey Mike here. So I want to talk about why I want to start FUDing Kaspa. So this is going to be interesting. I hope you guys have some time. I'm going to go into a lot of detail. Now, this all started because I was talking recently, and I guess my recent 2 live streams, or maybe just like the one from yesterday, but we were talking about, the people commenting in the chat and so on. We were talking about how a lot of people believe that Kaspa is going to go, not only Kaspa, but the crypto market in general is going to go down. So my live stream prior to yesterday, I guess the day before or something like that, I pulled up a whole bunch of comments from people on X posting about how they believe there's going to be another flash crash next week, right? And I'm not seeing it. I just don't see it. Now, it's Sunday evening right now at the time of this recording, and maybe we could get a little pullback. Things are pumping really pretty good right now. Me and my group were taking profits like crazy in a whole bunch of tokens. It actually feels pretty damn good, to be honest. But we could get a pullback between now and Wednesday over the next few days. And then we're going to probably skyrocket again on Wednesday when the interest rate cut happens. Now, if that rate cut does not happen, okay, yeah, things will crash. You got me there. Okay. But I'm not seeing it. I know we got like a 99% chance that we're going to get a cut. So we're probably going to get it. But what I've noticed and what I've commented on is that the market usually does the opposite of what everyone is expecting, right? What the majority of retail, right? I should point it out, retail is expecting the market to do. Now, we've seen this example recently a few times in a recent couple of months, but in particular, we've seen this example where everyone expected a red September and a green August. So because people were expecting that red September, they wanted to get out early, maybe just cash out so they don't get stuck in a red September, and they turn August red. And then September turned green. So the market does the opposite of what the people expect. So I just I'm thinking right now that I think that we have a situation where a lot of people are opening up shorts and they're just going to get liquidated. But we'll see. But aside from all that, yeah, I want to put myself into the mindset of the actual market makers. Like, what are they thinking? Now, this has been going on for a long time, like with obviously with Kaspa getting listed on Binance. Oh my God. Going back like over a year, everybody's seen all the signals, all the hints, all the signs from Binance and Coinbase and crypto.com. Kaspa's going to get listed on Binance. Yeah, it's going to happen next week. And it's been happening next week for the last, 52 weeks until, the last 70 weeks or whatever it is for more than a year. And it's not happening. So put yourself in their position. What are they thinking? Now, strategically, it wouldn't make sense for them to list Kaspa on, Binance and Coinbase and crypto.com and so on until they are certain that we're absolutely certain that we're near the top of the cycle. So I've gone through this quite a bit, where over the last year or so, and I've put in a lot of research because I always bought into the 4-year cycle theory and the halving cause, the cause of the top being a halving for a long time. And it's just this last year or so, I just wanted to just look into things myself because it doesn't make sense, right? People always said it'll be 4 years because it's always 4 years. Or then you come to realize it is not. There's been 4 cycles already and only 2 of them were 4 years. And right, the first one was 2.5 years. It ended, the top of the Bitcoin top was in June of 2011. The second one was another 2.5 years, and the Bitcoin top was in December of 2013. Only the third and fourth were 4 years. And when I got into it, I realized that the fourth one, the last one, should have been 5 years if it happened naturally without COVID. But I'll get into that right here. So I want to get into this real quick before I go into all this market maker stuff and eventually down to what I think about Kaspa right now and what I think it's going to do and my reason is behind such and such. So we had in 2020, we had the sudden drop, an immediate drop to 0% interest rates. We had a huge burst in liquidity, right, with QE and the money supply pumping, and we had stimulus checks, and that happened like bam, like right in April of 2020. That was what I call the money supply top. Sometimes I say peak QE because that's what it's called. People think I'm saying PQE, like the letter P. Peak at the top. But anyways, so we ended up with something in September of 2020, right? We had some red, and then the bull started to run in October of 2020, right? Over a year before the actual top. And the bulls started running, and they started running. You had a cut, and they didn't stop when the year ended. You had 2 weeks worth of red candles in January, and it just kept on going. You ended up with like the entire year. Like it looked like we were in the bull run, right? So, you know, my thesis is that this is going to happen like right now, and it's going to be even bigger this time around because we've got so many things going for us. Now we know when things happen with the market, when things happen with the economy, in particular, liquidity and so on, and the money supply, it usually takes about a year or so, or maybe some more, before it starts to affect the crypto market. So we have had thus far this entire year the central banks around the world pumping the money supply, right? And that is going to affect the market starting like right now. Right? The money is going to start flowing into risk-on assets. It's just a matter of like, I think it's starting to happen, but we'll see. We have the other thing that we didn't have the last time around. We have tons and tons of ETFs that are waiting to get approved. Hopefully this government shutdown ends like right now. And yeah, we're going to have a ton of money flowing into the market, into the crypto market. And it's going to cause the crypto market to surge. And then retail is going to see those 500% gains and those 1,000% gains. And then you'll be like, wow, now it's time to buy. And then retail is going to come in, right? Not only that, we have these interest rate cuts, which is another thing. Obviously, low interest rates stimulate the economy. And we're going to be getting these slowly but surely, and they're going to ever so steadily. We're going to be getting them now this year and next year. And then we're going to be getting more when Jerome Powell steps out and he's replaced by one of Trump's picks, right? So we're going to get even more rate cuts. And right now, apparently pretty damn soon, we're probably going to end QT in the United States. And we're going to start QE, and the money supply is going to be pumping. Now, mind you, all this stuff is happening like right now and is going to continue on happening, right, for the next like 8 months or so. We're going to get peak QE, right, a money supply top next year. And it still takes time before that to trickle down into risk on assets, and that'll take us into 2027. So we could get things started right now, and it could be the biggest goddamn bull run ever. Now, this goes back to what I was saying about Kaspa. Why they're not going to list Kaspa on exchanges like right now. I highly, highly doubt that if they believe something like this, as I've been explaining to you, that they're going to list Kaspa right now. So it's just like out of the question. They'll do it. They'll do it when they think that Bitcoin is going to get to like $1 million, maybe in 2027, or 1.5 million, right? But the large institutions, BlackRock and so on, they're still buying Bitcoin right now. They would not be buying Bitcoin right now if they thought it was at the top and it was going to decrease in value by, 50% or whatever it is. They would not be doing that. They're called smart money for a reason. And another thing to keep in mind is that the market makers, the big boys, the billionaires, if they do believe that Kaspa is the bomb and it is something that is absolutely worth it, they are going to need to keep stacking it and keep stacking it and keep stacking it, and exchanges as well. They're going to need to keep that price down for a long time to keep on buying more and keep on accumulating. Right. So this goes just, the same thing just applies to not only the institutions, but the exchanges as well. Binance, crypto.com, Coinbase, and so on. Right. They're going to need to keep on buying it at a low price. And what they're going to need from retail is a retail to be like psychologically drained and keep selling their bags and keep Kaspa at a very, very cheap price. That's what they're going to need. They're going to need everybody to think that they've had enough with Kaspa, that it's a stable coin. Kaspa's a stable coin, right? How people are complaining. And they need more people complaining that Kaspa's a stable coin. Kaspa's a stable coin, right? That's what they need, because they need Kaspa to be very, very, very cheap in order to accumulate it. So that's what I would need too. To actually buy more, because I know in the long run, me and my group, a lot of us are really dead set on just stacking more Kaspa. Now I do have some others that really don't. I have some Tau maxis in my group as well, in my community too. Funny thing, I actually have one guy who seems more like a Bombit maxi. I was like, damn, bro, that's a lot of Bombit you have there. Anyways, that's another story. That's just something funny that happened once. But, yeah. But I also want to go into a story that's not related to crypto. In fact, I don't want to get political, but I just want to actually prove a point here, that how the whole market is controlled, and it's all control is all being manipulated. It's all being manipulated to control retail and the profit from retail. And you just have to learn to play the game, right? You really have to learn how to play the game if you're going to make it big. Now, going back to the year 2016, I remember, and like I said, I don't want to get political. I just want to prove a point of how I was thinking back then and how nothing made any sense unless the entire system was under control. So back in 2016, when Trump was running for office, it seemed absolutely obvious to me, absolutely obvious, that Trump was going to win, and he was going to win big time by a landslide. Absolutely obvious. It seemed so goddamn weird that the media was saying he only has a 1.8% chance of winning. I was like, what the hell are they doing? I'm thinking right now that somebody out there, the overlords, whoever they are, that control the scene, who decide who is going to win the elections and decide what's going to happen, they want Trump to win. And for some reason or another, whatever it was, they want Trump to win. Because what they're doing is they're telling the media to tell everybody that Trump has no chance in hell of winning. So they're going to make all the Democrats stay home and not vote. So I remember there was one liberal that I had back when I used to use Facebook. I don't use it anymore. He was complaining all the time about Trump and complaining. The one day I just told him, I was like, hey man, Trump's not going to win. Just relax. Right. And I was like, I didn't believe that at all. I was like, just relax. He was like, yeah, you're right. Eventually that guy, what he did was he stayed home. Like everybody else, he stayed home. And I was like, with the turnout that he was getting, he was filling stadiums. It was obvious that he was going to win. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like these people, the media, they must be told that the news organization, they must be in on it, and they've been told to, have their reporters talk about how Trump is, has no chance of winning. And I was like, it didn't make sense. Like these people, they're smart people, right? If you think of all these people that you might think like that are clowns or whatever, like Anderson Cooper, or him or anybody who works with him, over at CNN. You don't get to be dumb to get in those positions. You're smart. Like sometimes, yeah, maybe you knew somebody, but you have to keep those positions. You have to be smart enough, right? So I was like, it can't be that like only I see this and nobody else sees it. Or like I was like, then everything is under control. Everything is controlled. And like all the world is a stage, even at that level. So if the crypto market is a stage and it's being controlled, you have to learn to think about what they're thinking about and try to anticipate what's going to happen and what they would do, right? Same thing, going back to everybody saying that there's going to be another flash crash next week. I'm thinking, okay, if everybody is thinking that, it's probably best to try to plan for the opposite, right? Keep an open mind either way, but it's probably best to plan for the opposite. So what I want to say now is that I think that it's my ultimate goal, my desire for Kaspa to remain very, very cheap right now. Very, very cheap. Like not even making its all-time high in this run-up that we're about to experience right now, like this year. Not even reaching, 20 cents. That would be like my absolute desire. Now, one thing that happened with me right around the time when I started buying into Kaspa, which was just 2 years ago, almost, right? Let's say like 2 years shy of like a few weeks, I think at this point, was I started the group and I said, okay, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to start one of these crypto groups that just, has a bunch of people chatting in the community and maybe make a good call once every 2 months, right? I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to make a ton of freaking money, right? And one thing I was really getting into video editing, I was like, I want to have a media empire and I want to start making videos. I want the money to invest, right? So I was like, I'm already a crypto trader. Who knows? I was a hodler. I was I was a hodler and I was a miner like in the 2017 cycle. I was more like a Digibyte maxi back then. And then I just hodl. I wasn't really trading, but I was like, I want to really get into this and really start trading, right? But there are reasons why one token would pump and another doesn't. There are reasons. So what if I can build some software to actually help me learn that about all the tokens out there? So I got together with some of my buddies. Right, mind you, we're all ex-FANG engineers, so it's not like we just paid somebody in Fiverr like $100 to build a plugin or something. I get these weird comments, people saying, "What plugin do you use in your community?" And I'm like, dude, these are like thousands of engineering hours to make these things. It's whole proprietary. So like as ex-FANG engineers, in case you know what FANG means, it's just your stereotypical engineer that's work for like a Silicon Valley type company. So FANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, and so on. So that stereotype for companies. And what I ended up doing was I was roughly around the same time I started buying into Kaspa. So what we did, we ended up creating some bots that actually start scanning like thousands of tokens, and we ended up getting some pretty damn good plays, right? And this is a list right here. If you go to my website, go to the top performing assets. This is the last run up. You can see these multipliers, right? Well, these are called by me, but we had only one advanced bot called the Insider Alert last year. So we can look at this. 86x on Farcoin, 70x on Nero, and so on. We have advanced this particular advanced bot significantly over the last 12 months, and we have other really, really highly advanced bots that, if working on completely different algorithms, if one doesn't catch a good coin, another will. And this year has been absolutely explosive. It has been my absolute desire to catch every single goddamn coin that can and will pump to over 100 million, to a billion, whatever, and catch it at such a low market cap as possible. So far I've been adding in the coins from this year, and there's probably like, I don't know, there's got to be more than 50. There's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 100. Like we did a 100x. Well, we did 100x on Trash Coin, but that was another one. That was a different call. That wasn't from a bot. We did a 550x on MYX, right? The DEX token that recently pumped to like a 550x to what was it, 3 billion in just in September. I called it. The bot called it. The insider like called it a 6 million market cap. We did a 94x on BNB. What is it? This token called Tutorial on BNB. We did so many more in recent times. We got a 37x on Matt Fury's Disco, this degen call. We got like on Giggle Fun on BNB. We got a 28x just yesterday, right? Which has reached an all-time high. Whereas like we are getting one good play after another, and we're building up our bags and we're rotating all the funds that we make and put it into another one and get more and more and more tokens. And me and a lot of my members were saying that we're going to use all this to buy more Kaspa. So as you can see where I'm going here, I really, really, really want Kaspa to stay low for some more time, right? I want to get to a point of having tens of millions of Kaspa. Like I want to have a lot of freaking Kaspa. Like I'm telling you, no joke. And I've been telling everybody in my community that we're going to end up in a beautiful yacht one day, and we're going to be chilling based on what we're doing. So this is like, I've set out to build a community that has no comparison to any other community. Like if you're already in a crypto community, just ask yourself, are you getting 20, 30, 50x calls almost every other week? When you get a green month or a few green weeks, are you getting like completely overwhelmed with the amount of calls and the amount of profits you need to take? Completely overwhelmed. Like my members have said that before. They comment on that every day. Just an hour ago, they commented on how much when they join, they immediately get some gains, because the amount of tokens, the amount of good calls that we're making, that we're pumping out, is off the charts. So, where am I going here? So when it comes down to it, with all this stuff I got going on, right, all this software, and it's not only these advanced bots, right? One thing led to another, where it's like, okay, like now that we have all these good plays, it makes sense to have another bot that let us know when it's a good time to sell, right? So we have this all-time high alert. So not only alerts us when it's an all-time high, but when it's pumping, getting close to an all-time high, and so on. So then like one thing led to another, like, wait a minute, we're taking profits, but now we need a chance to actually track our swing trades so we can sell high, buy back in low, and keep track of what we're doing. So we built swing trading software. So that's all available to my members as well. So one thing led to another, and it leads me to where I am today. And I'm thinking, I gotta put myself into the mind of a market maker. And I imagine in the minds of all the market makers is that they want to stack more Kaspa before it gets listed on Coinbase and Binance and Crypto.com and so on, and before they pump it, and they're not going to do it until the real top happens, right? They're not going to do it until the real top happens. And not only do I desire that the Kaspa not reach its all-time high over the next couple of months, I don't even know if it's possible. I mean, if it does, it might not. It'll go to 20 cents. Maybe it'll go to 30 cents. I don't even think it is going to go that high. Could be wrong. And this is not financial advice. Remember, there's no financial advice in this video at all. I'm just telling you about what I think, right, and what I desire. So I don't know. That's my thought. Those are my thoughts in a nutshell. So as of this point, I'm going to FUD Kaspa. I'm going to tell you, man, Kaspa ain't going nowhere. It's the worst project ever, right? All those comments I get on my videos, right? Oh my God, the hate. I'm going to be like, right on, man. Sell your bags. Sell your bags, dude. Do the right thing. Get out. Sell your bags. Make that Kaspa more cheap for me.